going to Gardens or City Centre, and Gardens is what we are going to be kicking off for Season 1 of Overwatch Contenders playoffs on between British Hurricane and CIS Hope. CIS Hope going to be taking up the blue, and British Hurricane and the red for taking each other's colours here, just a little bit of a friendly mix-up for them.
Friendly swap-up. Do you reckon they decided that beforehand?
Yeah.
You were like, this time you take blue, I'll take red. Okay, we'll mix it up a little bit. Swap jerseys by the end of it as well. CIS Hope, though, going to run out the gate, and actually something they've got on the screen at the moment, I know we've got about 10 seconds before they do prepare to attack, but Moira's extremely good at healing these front lines. All her burst healing from her orb coupled with a right click, and a very hard to lock down as well. British Hurricane known for their a very aggressive dive DPS, such as their Sombra and their Tracer as well. That could be CIS Hope's out. It
does look like British Hurricane are going to be swapping up the comp we saw from them before in their match against Angry Titan, so they're going to make sure that any research CIS Hope may have done around that composition isn't going to be paying off as much. However, we are going to see two Sombras on the field. All the hacks are going to be down. The territory control game is going to potentially be the name of the game here for both British Hurricane and CIS Hope.
Speaking of territory control, British Hurricane already on the point was able to use Funny Astro's speed boost to make sure they have a commanding position. In fact, Sharek jumping over to that ever-loving Reinhardt. Legday is going to be swinging away, going extremely low. He's going to get forced out, and Kenzie, look at that, punishing the back line in the tanks, just getting absolutely melted, and the D-Mech instantly onto Happy Cool. He's going to have to play a little bit more careful now. Chow does take credit for that one. Very, very close to building up towards that coalescence as well, Legday, but Happy Cool going down here does lead Unfix now to just push out enemy Sombra. Kib having to translocate, and speaking of translocation, Unfix has chucked his out as well. Big pulse bomb, not quite landing on anybody. Fusions, it will end up falling, and Chow's mech gets demeched as well, so two members across the board, but with that Bunny Blaster, Chow is taking a commanding lead on this point.
I did feel like British Hurricane weren't getting much use out of hacked health packs, but here comes both an EMP to shut down an early coalescence from Crusade.
Yeah, and Craggy as well, just completely shut out of it also. Kenzie was easily able to pick up that kill. No dashes, no resets available for the Tracer. Just means they can easily get out of dodge, and that will be Unfixed pushing forward now as they do manage to cap the point. We are 10% on the line already, but Kib is 90% on that EMP too. But it seems like they just want to save up to a bank of ultimates. They are going to make a short engage. There's the beat return here as well coming through for CIS Hope, but the problem is they get it instantly cancelled out as that EMP from Kib lands on 5 members. Happy Cool now in the front line, just chunking out that mech. Very quick retake here by British Hurricane.
And it felt like CIS may have backed off a little bit too prematurely there. They had the territory control with Unfixed hacking that big health pack in the center there. However, British Hurricane, they managed to slide their way through the defenses and get themselves onto the point. They managed to isolate Unfixed first and then take out Sharek thereafter. So perhaps a less than ideal use of a translocator from Unfixed to make sure that he couldn't get away from that assault. And then Sharek was laid upon soon after. He didn't have that much peeling for him because he only had the Diva, no Zarya in sight for the Reinhardt.
They have that shatter though, and they have that self-destruct as well. We've seen what they can do with it, but Sharek gets pushed off the edge. Fusions with the bounce, manages to end Sharek's life. Chow is going to sink himself deep in the waters as well. A quick reset here for CIS Hope. Didn't want to use that ult just yet. Fusion's only using one here. However, the self-destruct from Happy Cool was there also just to make sure they would bide a little bit more space.
Oh, Fusion's showing a little bit of main tank dominance, and I think our crowd here loved that. I heard it all over the headphones. But moving forward, British Hurricane, they once again have that Moira coalescence. They got to make sure he doesn't get hacked by Unfix, though. That was the fate last time. Wasn't able to get much out of that. Sharek's ready to lay down the hammer, and there it goes!
Two-man shatter coalescence going to follow up as well. The pin doesn't quite land, Harry, but another coalescence is going to be online fairly shortly as well. Main now just stuck with his healing orbs, is going to be able to heal out the rest of the team as they just scatter to the 4 winds. Unfix is going to take out Happy Cool, and Kenzie making short work of the back line. We spoke earlier about Funny Astro and Bokic just being left a little bit alone, and that's exactly what happened there. Crusade is going to fall as well. 67% was the only time secured by Hurricane. They're going to flip it over, and now they get their chance to defend.
Unfixed once more has the opportunity to hack that central large health pack, which means CIS may well be able to hold a little bit more forward with the healing available. Funny Astro just poking out a bit. He's doing that scouting role that the Lucio can be fit for. Got himself a little bit of healing, but you need to get away from that pulse bomb and the Tracer that's coming after you thereafter.
That would have been such a big pick-off as well, because he did have the pulse bomb. EMP gets waylaid, but Craggy gets caught in the front line. No dashes away, and ends up finishing up the kill. A beat to actually answer here from Hurricane. Craggy wasn't in it as he wasn't just spawning. Main does have that coalescence. This is going to unleash on the corridor, but Chow already takes out Happy. Kib is going to go down as well. well. They're still at 70%, so they've still got a lot of time. Fusions unlocks that primal rage to buy a little bit more space for his team, and a coalescence to answer as well for British Hurricane. Self-destruct onto the point, but everybody just scatters to make sure they can get out of his distance. Unfix now playing point with the rest of his tanks. Chow more than healthy to start this fight again. Craggy with Pulse Bomb, again, was taken out at the start of the fight, so had little to no impact.
87% accrued here for CIS Hope. We are in the last legs of British Hurricane's chances to attack now. They've committed 4 ultimates to the last fight, and they've already gone in. Sharek's gone down, and that's a great start for the Hurricane.
Yeah, Craggy taking out Sharek. That main frontline tank is not going to be available to them, and he's going to make mean work of Chow as well. Someone is sent sky high. Eng's actually riding the wall up. He's going to be able to touch the point and contest for a little while, though, as well, along with this Moira. But 99% ticks over. 68 now, 69 on the board for Hurricane. They have that self-destruct. Coalescence is coming online soon. 2 big support ultimates, but they have to look out for Unfixed EMP.
Perfection is demanded of both teams here, Jaws. We will be looking into last fight territory here regardless of who wins this. If British Hurricane can defend, they will be taking the Gardens. CIS Hope look to steal it from under their noses. They've got 99%. They've got the EMP. The question is, do they have the skill to make this work?
Moving forward, big EMP comes out. Funny Astro does have that sound barrier available to him very shortly, but I don't think it's going to be necessary. It's only going to land on a couple of members. A Coalescence is going to come out to try and save British Hurricane's life here. Funny Astro lays down the beat as well, and now it's all on Kenzie in the front line with that Pulse Bomb, just chasing out the supports of British Hurricane. They're going to manage to secure Chow's mech, but that is going to be it for Craggy. Kib finally finds Unfixed, in fact, but Chow with that Bunny Blaster just wrecking face is going to clean up Kib. However, dominant control from British Hurricane at the end of it all. Happy Cool and Fusion somehow still alive, and he's still frontlining 20 for 20 or something so HP, Harry, and he is still in the fight. Overtime still ticking through. British Hurricane are still managing to push people back. Overtime ticks up, and British Hurricane secure Gardens.
Overtime ticking up. CIS Hope going down. 1-0 on Oasis to British Hurricane. The ball is in their court, Jaws. And I don't know how Fusion survived on like 15 HP for what was probably about 20 seconds. He went so low, he got hit with a Pulse Bomb from Kenzie. But he managed to kite it really well around one of the pillars towards the back of Gardens so that he could get that Tesla coil damage in and eventually take down the Tracer that was waylaying him. However, now we move over to University, slightly different meta of heroes that we can expect here, Jaws. We've got Unfixed and Sharek picking up the dynamic duo of the Reinhardt and the Zaya, and Chow's going to be up there back with the Diva. British Hurricane are going to be matching them there. Junkrat versus Junkrat also going to be on the field.
Mirrored compositions, and this will really be the true test of how adaptive CIS Hope can really be. They know Craggy is a big Zarya player. It's all on Unfixed to make sure he keeps track of those shields. Fusion's being extremely aggressive once again, has to back off as he's fairly low. Takes a flame strike through the shield as well, but still swinging the Harrow. But Trout is going to punish him from the sidelines, and now they have main tank advantage with Happy Cool going extremely low as well on that Diva. Does end up getting taken out by Kenzie. He's just laying havoc to the front line. Those bombs doing so much work. Riptire is available and did come out from Kib, but will he be able to find any? But it doesn't look like Eng is actually going to pick up that one. Legday, first ultimate use, is already going to get taken out by a support. Speaking of support ults, there's the Coalescence as well to push everybody back through there. Fusion's not having a good time, pinned up against that wall, just try and go in yet again, but look at Unfixed, 100% charge, just melting through the mech of Happy Cool, and does have that Graviton Surge to boot.
And finally, the cap came through from CIS Hope. Down comes the sound barrier from British Hurricane, maybe a counter-attack. Mackenzie with the tire, he's going to try blow their hopes away.
Comes up big, Unfixed as well, just chewing through the front line. Everybody's just completely ignoring him, Harry. CIS Hope now have dominant control. They have ultimate economy as well to their name. They've even got the sound barrier as well if Hurricane do choose to use that grab. Craggy is so close, only 20% off.
CIS Hope held their nerve in the face of the sound barrier and decided not to invest his in that fight. And now Unfixed, ready to lay down the Graviton Surge. Craggy's also going to be up to it soon, so maybe CIS Hope needs to take the initiative, and that's exactly what they'll do.
There's the self-destruct. Choose your way. The shield can only go so far. Happy Cool Fusions, Craggy and Funny Astro bite the dust. One ultimate use for CIS Hope, and that is a team fight win.
Investment of the biggest bang combo available. The Graviton Surge grabs them all in, Jaws, and Chow, he knocks them all down.
spit some more back out. Back to your spawn, that is. They're just going to make another concerted effort, I think. Craggy does have that ultimate infusions, even with that shatter available to them. Speaking of shatters, though, Coalescence and answering Graviton Surge here from British Hurricane to Coalescence. They are crossing the beam, so getting damaged and healed about the same rate, Harry, but it's all Funny Astro and Craggy now moving forward and taking out Chow. Now they have the main tank advantage here. Funny Astro now taking a kill onto Unfixed. This is the reason why he's the bloodthirsty Lucio player here, Harry, and you can kind of see it in the scoreboard.
Not quite as much success there for British Hurricane in their investment of both Graviton Surge and the D.Va Self-Destruct. He got it on a corner so that when the D.Va Mech came by, it wasn't quite as effective as he would have liked. There were lots of line of sight issues for getting that damage down. But now CIS Hope, they can counterattack. They still have this sound barrier. And of course, that all-important Riptide. But Kip's going to be ready to meet him in the field with that as well. We're going to see 2 tires potentially.
Yeah, 2 beats dropped also. They're moving extremely aggressively. The British Hurricane are definitely a team that can move into the upper portions of your or near your spawn. Very, very low is the main tank of CIS Hope. Sharak ends up going down. Those tries are trading kills here, Harry, but all said and done, it is British Hurricane winning that engagement with Kib, securing the kill onto Kemsey. They're going to wander back to the point now. Those coalescences building up so fast in these tight corridors as well, Harry. Crusade has won almost every single fight.
Avigal throwing himself off the map. He's going to be rejoining his team in time with that mech in tow, but Unfixed, he holds the key to CIS Hope taking back this point. They need to defend it for about 1 fight afterwards. He does have a Graviton Surge. Chow almost has the follow-up as well in the form of the self-destruct.
Well, there's the Coalescence. Craggy first takes out Eng, and they are still moving on to the point. Graviton Surge is used.
They've lost Reinhardt.
He killed. No shield, no problem, but a double shield coming out through from Craggy saves his entire team, Legday. How does he do it? Kib finds the kill onto Unfixed as well, building up to 70%. Perfect shield timing from Craggy, the Tracer, and Zaya God. And now moving so far up to CIS Hope spawn now, just trying to build up to another Riptire.
And you talked about it before, but I'm so impressed with those shield timings. Not only that, they also blocked line of sight from a bomb to save the people who were not shielded in that Graviton. And despite fusions going down, they managed to survive that. But will they survive this? CIS Hope coming in. Sharak has the shatter.
Ib has the tire, but he gets killed by Chow. But the tire from Kemsey comes up big. Sharak comes in with a charge, swinging the hammer. The Warrior gets out alive, but not for long. It's scorched on exit. Crusade falls. Overtime is there, but it's not going to be enough for CIS Hope to fall over just yet. 80% and counting now.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we are on the edge of our seats. Fusions is ready to strike back should it be required. He almost has that Earth Shatter available, and Funny Astro has almost built himself up to a sound barrier. He's got a narrow window where Eng will not have his. Main's ready to come out with a Coalescence, however.
Unleashed it. Craggy moving forward. It's got about 80-90% charge, and the B has been dropped from Hurricane, but Fusions is the first to fall. Happycool didn't receive any of that sound barrier, so he isn't as chunky. Speaking of chunky members, CIS Hope receive a 6-man sound barrier, and that'll be Craggy now falling. The percentage of ults acquired in this push and the last one was just all too good for CIS Hope. Overtime is ticking down, and they are going to be able to secure University to bring Oasis to 1 apiece. Overtime now, finally, the candle wick is burning down. Legday, 1 apiece between Hurricane and CIS Hope. The next match will decide. The next map will decide who the first map goes to, and what hype you can feel now in the stadium as well. CIS Hope and British Hurricane fans coming out in force.
I can feel the electricity in the air, Jaws. CIS Hope going up against the Titans, our British Hurricane, London Spitfire, Overwatch League Academy team, backed. So many resources at their disposal, and here we have these lads from CIS Hope. They are what Overwatch Path to Pro is, Jaws. And they are going to try and bring it to British Hurricane. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to City Centre. We're going to try and make this happen here. Both British Hurricane and CIS Hope vying for victory 1-1.
It's all been about Craggy and Unfixed getting those Graviton Surges, but this time around, they're going back to Ye Olde Faithful in that Sombra Tracer combos. Both of them matching comps yet again. Unfixed now on this Sombra is going to be able to build up Hack rather quickly, and Moro building up that Coalescence rather quickly as well, as everybody's pushing in this tight corridor.
And with these tight formations, you can also get so much off the spread of that submachine gun. Look at how much he can just hit everyone, despite whether or not he's aiming at them or not. And now, British Hurricane, they have dropped their Winston Shield. They need to be a little bit less aggressive because they don't have that to defend them. Sharak's ready to drop his own at a moment's notice.
Now first Coalescence is going to get unleashed, and so, well, speaking of first, there's the second as well to boot, but Craggy already takes out Sharak in the front line. He's just so far up that Craggy punishes him by just flanking around the sidelines. Pulse Bomb available to him as well. Hurricane just being so aggressive on these pushes. You can see in the way that they play. Something that we touted for them as well a couple of weeks ago, Harry, was their ability to play so far up on the map. 75% is theirs and 25% is the other team.
It does look like British Hurricane for now going to be a little bit more reserved, playing around the bouncy castle, the elevator. The remainder of British Hurricane sticking around in the middle. They want to make sure that point isn't capped out from under their noses. And look at this ultimate bank. They've got almost 5, and Sharek's ready to try and take the engagement here, but he's going up against such an arsenal.
Oh, he's stuck as well. Doesn't quite go down and uses that lead very defensively. A very aggressive EMP there from Unfix's team. Well, not seemingly ready for it. Everybody gets the EMP, but however, Chow does manage to take out Kib. The beat has been dropped from British Hurricane as well, but with one of their main damage sources down, they might find this a bit hard. Kenzie's still contesting the point and almost captured a quarter of it also. Coalescence is going to get unleashed by CIS Hope, and they're just going to be able to push Hurricane back. The point has not been capped just yet, still just under a half.
Shrooms being crossed, Fusion's put down as well, but he's got quite a bit of health to him as well. And here comes the counter EMP from Kib. Out go the lights.
The lights in the mech slowly disappear, and Funny Astro kills off Unfix. Kib, Happy Cool, they're all on the board, and that was a very decisive push and a team kill for Hurricane. And they still have ults to work with in the next fight as well.
And despite not working, I quite like Unfix's strategy there with the EMP. After we saw Sharek got stuck, he made a quick disengagement. He only had 100 health left and needed to be healed up. And you saw British Hurricane surging forward. They wanted to get that kill. Unfix managed to catch loads of him out of position, and there was a bit of a counter-attack. Chow managed to take down Happy Cool. However, they just weren't able to finish that one off quickly enough. Now Kenzie's desperately trying to build up towards this pulse bomb, because we're 80% of the way towards a British Hurricane victory on Oasis.
Look how aggressive he's playing, really far up, just trying to chunk out that Diva mech. Hag does come through, can't really see what it's on just yet, but the pulse bomb is going to do a whole lot of damage. Answering Coalescence though to heal everybody up, and in fact a sound barrier as well is going to be dropped from British Hurricane, so 2 support ultimates now down. Kenzie's still farming these tanks as well, chucked out a pulse bomb, and he's already got 50% on another one. Unfix comes in with the EMP and manages to eradicate Kib and Craggy, maintaining himself on the board with the right click, and that will be a CIS Hope winning the first team fight on this map, and that is Kenzie with another pulse bomb. But look at the ultimate bank here from British Hurricane. They're gonna CIS Hope are gonna have to play so careful because Kib has that EMP.
CIS Hope had an ult bank and they cashed it in. Kenzie as well throwing out an errant bomb. However, not going to be getting much off of that, it would appear. Now British Hurricane, they're ready to come in. The battering ram has been prepared. 4 ultimates in their bank. Craggy's already thrown out the bomb. Doesn't like that's going to get much, but Sharek's already down, chunked by that bomb and followed up by Fusion.
Kib is looking for an entrance. There is the self-destruct to make sure he can remake, just hanging around the explosion. But you still got to be careful. That EMP is looming on the horizons. Look at Fusion though. What just happened there? Primal Rage kills Unfix and Main. Kenzie's been completely hacked. Has to just retreat to a health pack. They're just going to be able to cap the point off this one.
You can't the translocate. You got to get on there. Overtime is in session, and there we go. He's going to get it right back in. CIS Hope need to get onto the point now. British Hurricane have almost got it.
He's waiting for that translocator, but he needs to just buy time. Kenzie dashing in. The barrier has been dropped and no answering EMP. Just means that's completely safe. And now Kib is going to fall. Hurricane with a man disadvantage. Even more so now with Crusade going down. Unfix marching forwards and towards the enemy team without avail. Karagi has that pulse bomb. This might just be the saving grace of them unless they can turn this one around. They still have that overtime ticking through, but 99% to 30, and it will be CIS Hope taking that fight and the recap.
But good news left for British Hurricane. They did stay in control for the majority of that fight, so CIS Hope didn't spend much of it accruing percentage. 99% still in favor of British Hurricane, while CIS Hope tick up towards victory. They have quite a few ultimates in their bank, almost 4 now. A couple more SMG shots from Unfixed. There it is, we'll get that. Unfixed already coming in with the stick, or rather Kenzie coming in with the stick, but Fusion's gonna survive.
Oh man, Happy Cool gets hacked as well. He should be okay though, does back off. Coalescence from CIS Hope to make sure they all far shoved backwards. Speaking of big ultimates, Unfix unleash his, but look at that. B and Coalescence instantly dropped. He didn't manage to cancel out either one of them, so they're going to be in full effect. Fusion's diving in straight on top of on top of CIS Hope even. Another self-destruct does come out to find the remake. They can't quite land the kill, Legday. Happy Cool has that self-destruct to remake him, but CIS Hope, their bank, their ultimate economy is completely dry.
83% in favor of CIS Hope here. This may be British Hurricane's last chance of EMP. They're going to try for it.
EMP for Kib, Kenzie extremely low, has got that healing to work him up. Fusion's given the old Goomba Stomp, does manage to secure the kill. They're only about a quarter of the way through of actually capping the point, but that bead drop might just secure it to them. However, Kib on the back line, super secret special agent, just trying to find a way in. Sharek manages to kill Crusade and Craggy. He's trying to make this time bank last as much as possible. Double overtime is now in session, but they need to be able to touch the point to keep it alive.
Here comes CIS Hope, out comes the Pulse One, and Funny Astro rides himself into it, not like this
Lots
son.
of healing now when Kenzie and Sharek managed to eliminate Happy Call and Funny Astro. Another EMP, but was it a little too late? British Hurricane now falling by the wayside. CIS Hope, this group, this gang of friends, managed to secure the first game over British Hurricane.
They have done it, ladies and gentlemen. The underdogs, at least in terms of the resources available to them, have taken their first game. It was the pick of British Hurricane as well. They came in not knowing potentially what CIS Hope would play on Oasis, but now they know exactly what they do play.
We said before how hard they are to research on, and on a map they've not actually played during groups or quarterfinals. How would you know how well they've practiced this map if you've not been scrimming them, which they haven't been?
And we hit on it on the desk as well. British Hurricane, they're an incredibly momentum-based team. They cannot let this get to their heads.
Yeah, we've seen in the regular season, actually, the group stage, the way British Hurricane like to play. If they do lose their first map, it can be kind of a snowball effect and them just kind of clutching at straws, trying to find that fifth and final game to close out and wrap up the series. But if they find their first win, that snowball is in their favor. We're going to jump to a short break, guys. You can refuel, and we'll be back momentarily. Thank you very much, guys. We're back. Map number 2 underway. Very, very shortly. The teams are just deliberating, seeing what map they actually want to pick up. It will be hybrid next for game number 2. CIS Hope, though, with kind of a back and forwards game, but really just winning it out in the end. Sombra EMPs used a little bit more readily. Kib just struggling ever so slightly in the Sombra v Sombra matchup. Yeah, the Sombra v Sombra not going very much their way, and of course Sharek also showing a little bit of dominance in the Rhine versus Rhine against Fusions as well. I did tout him as the best Rhine in Europe at the start of this series, and I'm going to stick by my comment for now, at least until I'm showed evidence to the contrary. However, it being hybrid Jaws, we've got two choices. It will be Hollywood
or it will be Numbani, and of course British Hurricane will get to pick as they were the losers of the last round.
Yeah, that being said, they do run Funny Astro on Hollywood, the only non-control map they do actually run him on, and it will be Numbani as the other choice, like you just said. And British Hurricane specifically, they've had a very, very good showing on Numbani. They put Kib on a very supportive DPS role on the Soldier, stick him up high, and even Bocket's been touted as one of the best Anas in EU by his team multiple times, so maybe we'll see that come out.
Yeah, Bocket's a very good Ana, and of course you can get a lot more support when you have a Biotic Field from the Soldier available to you. That's like 40 healing per second, and Hollywood is going to be the pick from the side of British Hurricane.
Huh, okay, so not something we actually predicted in the little break there. We were like, okay, so what's it going to be? What's it going to be? Numbani?
Well, we thought it would be Numbani.
We thought it would be Numbani, but it's Hollywood. Okay, a curveball coming out already. So we're probably going to run Funny Astro on this one. But again, you can put Kib on this more supportive DPS role in the Soldier. Something we've seen throughout the group stages. You just stick them up on the top of the cafe, build up that trifecta with the Mercy or the Ana and the Zenyatta as well. So that wouldn't be too much of a surprise. But we'll have to wait and see what they want to do.
Yeah, I'll have to see exactly what they're going to do. We can also potentially see block on the Ana here. Maybe you'll sit up in the cafe with that healing from the Soldier. Maybe you'll have a Zenyatta decide. You can do a pretty static defense in the cafe if you are so inclined, but it might make you rather vulnerable to attack from something like a Pharah or a Roadhog or even a Junkrat.
Yeah, and actually that's a hero that both teams have played a whole bunch of. Kib specifically on the Pharah jumping over hasn't had the greatest success, but Happycool doing the same thing also. We've known them to run triple DPS, and again, it's kind of hard to predict what they're going to play on these sorts of maps because they have had a little time between the quarterfinals now coming up to the semis, and you got to think if they're coming up against CIS Hope, who are a very reactive team, do they just kind of counterpick that and go, okay, so we're not going to run far or anything because we know you can play Soldier like and things like McCree. Are we just going to go for this all-in dive strat to make sure we can disrupt the top cafe? But then again, we've seen CIS Hope run a very, very tanky comp on this map too. In fact, they found one of the draws in the season as well on this map.
Yeah, they found a draw here, but you know what I'm most concerned about for this choice? Second stage can often be ruled by a Widowmaker, and I'd say the most prevalent Widowmaker among both these teams is CIS Hope's Kenzie. He's a very adept sniper. That
being said, if you look at Hurricane, who's the Widowmaker on that team? We've seen Craggy play it a little bit, but not so much. Very much likes to stick to his Zaya or the Tracer. And now Happycool, does he jump on the Widowmaker? We haven't seen him play it at all. It's mainly been Sombra if he jumps on something like a DPS. It's going to be all up to that. I mean, maybe Kib just wants to battle it out. Maybe they just stick one of their supports on the Mercy and just kind of damage boost him and just hold that high ground, but we'll have to wait and see. Now, I want to see if they're going to bring out tanks, because we've also seen things like tanks with Mei come out as well from the Korean Contenders too. So maybe they run Kenzie Mei, just push up, easy.
I wouldn't mind a little bit of Mei.
I'm not going to lie, I wouldn't mind either. I've been chatting about it for the last like 3 days, and I want to see some more Mei.
I would love to see that. However, we aren't quite sure what we're going to be seeing just yet. So let's theorize. During Contenders group stages, Dez and Tridd coined the phrase trash compactor for the cafe when people try and dive in, and they often dive into a Junkrat trap because of he positions it like very sneakily, like exactly where your Zenyatta is going to be standing, so that when your Winston jumps in and tries to get that 50 burst damage from landing the leap, he finds himself in a trap and is quickly burst down with a Discord orb, a couple of grenades to the face, and of course the orbs of destruction as well lay down so much damage. Yeah, they do. And that problem with the Junkrat also is that he builds up tires so quickly, and that can really just end a team fight there and then. There aren't too many avenues of attack for the Rip Tire. I mean, you can kind of go over security if you're on the defense or on the offense, but it's very easy to kind of spot out. It's all about the mechanics of that tire managing to weave in and out to try and aim for those supports. But we're going to go on to sunny Hollywood as our game number 2 is going to be underway. Now, what do they play? Like you said, maybe they go quad tank, maybe they go triple tank or something, or maybe a little bit more explosive. We will see the attacking side being British Hurricane first up, swapping their colours around yet again, like they. Yeah, at least they're being consistent in their swap ups.
Yeah, that's true.
Can't blame them there. But on the defensive side, it does look like Sharek and Unfixed are once again going to be picking up this combination of both Reinhardt and Zaya. And I don't blame them. It went very well for them on University, and they may hope that the enemy decide to try and fight them on their own ground. We saw Fusions not having a great time against Sharek on the Reinhardt.
Yeah, that's so. And saying about talking about like high and low ground, who's actually really going to sit up in that cafe? You've got Main on this Zenyatta. You've got Kenzie who wants to be on the high ground to get some nice aerial volleys with the left click. But who's actually going to protect Main in this situation? You're going to have to rely on the healing from Aang specifically, and obviously the shielding that Sharek can provide, and even Unfix obviously popping one of those bubbles on you. But it's going to be rather lackluster if you do let him go down fairly early on. Just going to jump out the gate, and it'll be, yeah, seems to be quad tank coming through for CIS Hope.
Of course, we've seen Chao have an evolution of playstyle on Medivh. He's a lot more passive now, and that may mean that he's going to be commuting between the front and back lines to try and keep Main safe should a dive come in from the side of British Hurricane. But of course, British Hurricane are going to be pretty much sitting more on the low ground. They do have the speed boost as their advantage, and already a couple of grenades coming in from Kib, going to be trying to get down a bit of damage, but no kills thus far.
Yeah, it was quad tank to start out with, and then Kib just instantly switching over to that Junkrat. Bucket is going to pay the price first up, and Kenzie does take him out. Again, those Junkrat volley of those bombs doing a whole bunch of damage. And speaking of damage, that'll be Sharek and Chao pushing forward as well. Fusions and Funny Astro will end up falling over, and that'll be 66%, almost 70 on the ball for Unfix on that Graviton Surge already. So him securing all this charge is going to mean they're probably going to have a grab next push.
Kenzie on the ball or on the tires, we could say 92% in favor of him, and the remainder of CIS also building up very quickly. Here comes the first Transcendence though, coming out from Bucket.
Crazy coalescence, and Bucket does unleash that Transcendence like you mentioned. Perfect positioning from Craggy to take out that tire from Kenzie. There is the return from CIS Hope with that coalescence, but Aang and Chao, they've isolated the supports, and another tire is laid waste to go back to the scrapyard, and that will be a kind of deleted push here from British Hurricane as CIS Hope do manage to defend, and they still have that grab and the shadow available.
Today our Zayas did not care very much for the tires. However, British Hurricane are feeling pretty good about that economy-wise. They trade 2 ults for 3, including both of the support ultimates of CIS Hope here. 3 tank ultimates are available. Have to see if they can get that bigger bang combo again.
Funny Astro has got that sound barrier. There is the grab, and there's the barrier to match all that damage just being laid down by Kib and by Kenzie. Shadow hits the floor, and Craggy's the only one there, but a defense matrix will save his life for the time being, and gets flame struck as Fusions just starts swinging the hammer and just managed to kill off Sharek as well. Better Reinhardt, this time it's Fusions, Harry. The tide does come in from Kenzie, does manage to eliminate one, but they've still got that coalescence to back them up with.
One is all they have, and Main taken out of the air by a couple of micro rockets courtesy of Happy Cool. And now British Hurricane have their positioning on the point. They should be sitting pretty as they go to cap this. And like we said before, Jaws, Kenzie making the swap over to the Widowmaker, ready to control the high ground with the French purple lady, the sniper, up in her nest. Gonna have some rather nice sight lines.
In fact, Unfix has changed over as well. He's actually going to go on the Sombra, so hacking the health packs rather far forward is going to be extremely beneficial to them. It does leave British Hurricane with a lack of healing, especially on the big pack on the left-hand side that you just saw.
And we may well see a combination of hacking fusions and then getting a snipe off on someone who was unsuspecting, thinking they were safe behind the shield presented before them. Fusion's going in for a cheeky fire strike there, gets punished by Kenzie, but slowly trying to build up towards that infra site, and here comes a Riptide courtesy of Kib.
Kib, Riptide, everybody's on the high ground, but yet again it gets destroyed. Chao is just on point. In fact, everybody in this game is on point to destroying those Riptides, knowing exactly where they come from. Happy does get hacked, so he's going to have to back off for the time being. And that's actually a really big grab, trying to disrupt Unfix's damage as he does jump straight into the grab. Another hack lands on him, death from above from Unfix, already built himself up towards that EMP, but Main's already dead. Kenzie's going to bite the dust as well as Kib manages to take out the kill. Long range, no problem when you got the explosive projectile hero that is Junkrat.
Potentially not the greatest available self-destruct there from Chao, maybe trying to remake and try and buy some time here, but look at all the space that's afforded British Hurricane, having got the stagger on the deal, they can just leave their supports on the cart, keep it moseying on forward. One last chance here for CIS Hope. They're stacking up by the door ready to come out, but it may not be easy. Chao's got potentially another avenue in if he uses those boosters.
We see Unfix, he's chucking that. Oh, there's the EMP. He chucked the translocator in. It hits 4. Hits Kib on the top of the roof as well, so he can't use those mines to escape. It doesn't seem like he needs it. Does manage to take out Chao in the 1v1, but that is Bucket moving forwards, healing his entirety of his team. It's going to build up towards that coalescence extremely quickly, but it might be too little too late. In fact, as Craggy and Kind end up going down as well. Unfix just ruining the front line, and even Kenzie getting his name on the board on the kill of Bucket. So now they've got this far. The card cart is actually going to start to roll back now, Harry. It's all up to British Hurricane to make a swift, decisive entrance to make sure it doesn't roll back so far.
The story of that fight was actually told on the high ground in a 1 versus 1 between Chow and Kib. Chow went up to try and disrupt Kib, making sure he couldn't bring down the tire, and he did lose out that duel, but Kib was left with about 20 health, and instead of staying up on the high ground and raining down those rockets, he decided to try and go for the health back you see to your left right now, and Kenzie picked him off when he went to do so.
Graviton almost acquired. Kib sends out that Riptide yet again. They're going to be able to touch the point here, so British Hurricane do have their forward advantage. However, Funny Astro has to go on the retreat as that Transcendence is going to come through from CIS Hope. As soon as it runs out, though, you can see them now pushing forward. Graviton Stones land straight on top of that car. That Primal Rage is going to help the Winston survive for the time being, and that Coalescence is going to chase them off for the time also. Fusions finding that Shatter could be pretty big, and he's got a lot of help to work with as well, as that sound barrier did come through. And now Craggy killing Vayne, and Eng falling to the ground as well by Fusions. This guy, he's got an agenda, and it is killing the entirety of CIS Hope.
Great play from Fusions there, managing to get a kill with the 50 impact damage you get when you hit someone with a charge, and that's how Main on the ground fell down. And now we move into our final area of Hollywood for the attack of British Hurricane. Shark, just a rat in a cage.
Look at that charge as well. Like, Craggy's on 50% already. He just used grab on top of the cart to secure it for the team, and now he's building up towards another one. Permanently at 100% charge as well, as the right clicks do come through from CIS Hope's Zaya. But we're now seeing Kib on his also famous Genji, and he's going to have a blade rather quickly as well. That chunky front line of CIS Hope is going to be no match for the blade.
And of course, Avical is still holding on to that self-check. May want to use it to try and get a remake here. But Fuchs is going forward. He's had the Zaya shield applied to him, so now he's going to be a little bit more vulnerable for a while. Does have the Discord Orb on him as well, taking quite a bit more damage.
Look at that damage coming out from Craggy, just absolutely immense. There's no way Chow could stand a chance. Had to back off rather sharpish, and in fact the entirety of CIS Hope doing just that. A very intelligent grab on the wall is going to be answered with Main using that Transcendence, so no one going down just yet. Even that self-destruct is going to get blocked off. Nice positioning from the tank master Sharik. Here comes the tire from Kenzie as well. It secures the kill onto Craggy, but that might be all they need as that mech gets destroyed as well. Chow managed to fin up Fusions, and that'll be a nice team fight win there for CIS Hope. They do use tire, and they actually use the Coalescence as well to back up for the healing. They still have the Shadow available, and hey, look at Umfix, now with his own grab also.
Sharik there with a Mercy kill on Hathikal. Potentially CIS Hope could have staggered that one out quite a bit longer to try and make sure British Hurricane couldn't make the most of this time bank available to him. Only 1 minute and 6 seconds left on the clock. Bucket swapping over now. He's no longer on the Moira, he's gone over to the Zenyatta. They want the additional damage on Sharik, but Sharik's got an answer for it in the form of a Nerf Shatter, and there's going to be very little consistent shielding to try and block it, Jaws.
Kib's going to have to be a bit of a sneaky beaver. He has that blade, but that hammer hitting the ground will end his life, and Unfixed with that Graviton Surge as well will end him also. He's got to be very careful when he pulls it out, maybe just waiting and forcing out those offensive tank ultimates first up is going to be their main cause.
Oh, what
Sharik,
a block from Fusions.
Oh, lays down the hammer, but the Fusions with the bubble is going to save the life of the rest of his team to start off with. Craggy finds Main in the back line, and Kib still dancing around these tanks, but that Coalescence is making mean work of him. They've only got 25 seconds left remaining as well, but they still have that blade.
British Hurricane are pretty happy with that. A big investment from CIS Hope to use both the Earth Shatter and the Coalescence, but it did mean that Main had the chance to move up towards that all-important Transcendence, which is the answer to Kib's blade. So now he may feel under pressure to use it before Main can get himself that Transcendence.
2 ultimates expended last fight, but Kenzie's going to go down. There's the Graviton Surge. No Transcendence to answer it. Well, Bucket with the Transcendence to answer with it even. Self-destruct is going to get blocked once again, and that Pulse Bomb from Craggy launching it downtown as he tags Sharik, and there's Kib finally with a Dragon Blade, but Main had an answer for it, and that is in the form of his own Transcendence. Just a bit of damage on the tank is what he's going to have to settle for. British Hurricane now laying down the beat as Funny Astro finds his like-for-like in the kill onto Eng. Still with domination control over this car is Kenzie. In fact, he's the guy you have to watch as Main's just discording the targets, and he's just knocking them all down. His only Fusions left on this car, just has to be able to stay alive, and now a solo shatter straight onto Funny Astro means the clock ticks through, and Hurricane can't quite complete Hollywood.
Maybe a touch of nerves there from Kib, seeing the Transcendence come out and then popping his blade. Not ideal, didn't manage to get anything off that except maybe a solitary slash onto Chow, and that just wasn't enough damage to make that ultimate really come through, despite how much time he spent waiting trying to set up for that.
We'll have to wait and see now with CIS Hope on the offense. Now Kib with the blade, maybe, like you said, maybe that's just a little bit of nerves coming into the live event. We did see TechGirl mention it on the desk a little bit earlier on. It's a different scenario, it's a different environment. But a lot of these players have had this past experience. You can't really just lay it down to nerves all in all. But the Blade, there was so much to answer there, Legday. You had unfixed Graviton Surge, you had that Earth Shatter. When do you pull the Blade out? When do you start wreaking havoc? Because CIS Hope have been so good at staggering their ultimates. 2 at a time, ends the team fight, no worries. We've got 2 building up right now. We're going to be able to use it the next one.
And not only that, your other support target on the Moira can very easily escape the Blade, providing they wait to use their fate after you've used your initial dash that you gain when you pop that Blade out. So Kib stuck between a rock and a hard place, and unfortunately he found the hard place rather quickly.
Yeah, maybe you was better off sticking on the junk rat, which does look like he's actually jumping onto now. Seems like a common theme, triple tank with the junk rat, doing a lot of damage to the front line. Very easy for Zai to just walk forwards though. Nice bit, 100% charge, thank you very much. Up a couple of shields, no worries. And now CIS Hope get their chance to attack, and are we going to see the same story here? Is it going to be a rather decisive push? Because with these Lucios, and one of the reasons why British Hurricane bring the Lucio on to this point specifically, is that you can make pushes really worthwhile. Speed boost in, you can reset them extremely quickly as well.
Although when CIS Hope were defending, we saw them utilize the Zenyatta here to lay down a little bit more damage on the attacking tanks. British Hurricane won't be able to do that. Instead, they'll have a little bit more control over the pace of engagements here. Because if they were going up against the Lucio Veng without one of their own, then CIS Hope would really be able to control when and where they fight because of that speed boost. However, British Hurricane are going to be able to now counteract that with Funny Astro should they wish to make a disengagement.
Well, they're going to make their first push. A few bombs over security, trying to land some lucky shots. Kib already at 40%. It's always scary how quickly Junkrats actually build their charge, and that'll be Sharek end up going down. Did get booped on top of the roof there, Legday. I don't know if you saw his limp, lifeless body next to that beer keg. Maybe a one too many.
Yeah, that was a really strange pathing for Sharek. I'm not sure if he threw himself up there with the air control you can be granted while you're in the air, or if it was a combination, because it looked like Happy Cool or Funny Astro may have booped him aside to put him onto the roof where no one could reach him in terms of healing. It's worth noting that CIS Hope are running 2 proximity healers as our British Hurricane. There's no long-range healing available here. You've got to stick nice and close to these guys to be in those cones or areas of effect.
Well, there's the Coalescence. First up for Meng. Such a quick building ultimate when you're making these slow, quick, decisive pushes. Unfixed about 50% on that Graviton Surge. Is 100% charge as well, so he is just tearing through these shields, tearing through these tanks, but Craggy built his one up way quicker as Kib sends the tire in and eliminates the front line of CIS Hope. Decisive push with Craggy building us up very quickly. Again, this is something that we touted him for. This Zaya specialist, normally known for his Tracer on ladder, but as soon as he comes into these highly competitive games, see him on that Zaya, because he's going to be chewing through targets.
Nervous? Kib? Never nervous. Coming in with a rip tire. The exclamation mark on that push, sending CIS Hope back to their spawn. However, only a minute and 30 has passed for CIS Hope for their last 2 pushes, and now they're building up a considerable ultimate bank. They've almost got all of them.
Well, Kenzie with the tire this time is going to go over the houses, try and find that back line, just wibbling, wobbling, trying to find anything, trying to get off my property. He doesn't quite get it. Only a little bit damage down to that shield. In fact, British Hurricane are going to lay down that sound barrier. The shatter does land, and it lands on 3 members. Eng and Chow bite the dust. A self-destruct, making sure a D-Meg lands onto Chow, and another Graviton Surge is sticking everybody inside that cafe. Unfixed Kenzie, they're having a field day. A return tire onto Eng might just do it, though, with Fusion taking Sharek, but everybody's pushed way out, and the spawn time is away in favor of CIS Hope as well. So much closer, and Kenzie with dominating control over that small choke point. They're going to be able to secure the cart and push it through the streets of Hollywood.
Celebratory spray there from Kenzie. It looks like it's going to be moving over now. I'm going to guess it's going to be for the Widowmaker. Kib's going to be joining him up on the rooftops, having taken up his own Widowmaker. We haven't seen too much out of Kib on this particular hero over the course of Overwatch Contenders. But I do want to point out a microplay that happened in that particular fight. Funny Astro on the Lucio, he managed to boop Sharek as he went for that Earth Shatter, potentially saving most of his team from the area of effect that could have been caused.
Well, now Craggy switching over to that Tracer also, with 70% on charge on that Zaya as well, which could have landed them and netted them an easy team fight to win. Kib just pummeling the tanks for the time being, hasn't had the 1v1 on Kenzie just yet because he's got that tire available. However, he does end up going down. Stationary is the junk rat when he does unleash the tire, just makes him a sitting duck, and that tire finds Nout as well. So that'll just be a quick disengage from CIS Hope. They only have that Coalescence to work with, but now Kenzie switching over to this Widowmaker, hopes to make a little bit more of an impact.
Yeah, having used the tire, the Intelligent decision here, going over to Widowmaker, challenge out Kib a little bit more directly. He's not as afraid of him at all. Kib already, however, is 60% of the way towards Infrasight, and that's a huge advantage in those Widow duels when you can see where your enemy is peeking and where they're coming from. Havoc was the only ultimate on the board for British Hurricane at the moment, however, so they may well decide to try and take more of a vanilla push, see what they can do with their bare mechanical skill in terms of moving this cart forward and trying not to invest.
Kib's on a scary amount of ult charge as well, 40%. It's extremely easy for him to build that up on the tanks, means he's going to be able to unleash those wall hacks. Coalescence coming through for CIS Hope. Craggy goes in with the pulse, does manage to kill Sharek. You can't out-heal that Moira, unlucky, and does manage to get the revive on Sharek in amongst all the chaos with that self-destruct just to get the remake. Big bomb, doesn't quite find anybody, but that Graviton certainly did. Unfixed finally makes use of it and even gets a kill with it also.
Oh, Unfixed. It was a very good Graviton Surge there, bringing everyone in and making sure that Sharek could swing for the fences and earn himself yet another Earth Shatter. And now British Hurricane, they have one more chance to defend point B of Hollywood because CIS Hope are surging forward and British Hurricane isn't complete. If it gets to the last point of Hollywood, they are going to be very scared indeed.
You have to look at Kenzie though, he's just left completely alone, or in fact, the rest of the team seems to be completely alone, Harry, as they do end up lighting the
Funny Astro
scoreboard
with
red.
the kill on Kenzie.
Oh yes, why not? Battle Mercy against the Widowmaker. Who wins, the giant moth lady or the giant spider lady? Normally the spiders win, but you know, give it to the moth lady.
He's a bloodthirsty boy, that's all I could say. Funny Astro there using the Valkyrie, and of course you don't have to reload when you use the Valkyrie, so you can lay down a huge amount of damage as for Mercy should it be required, but usually you want to be using that healing or the damage boost to make sure the remainder of your team are also doing huge amounts. But over the course of that fight, Bucket managed to get himself a Transcendence, so likely given that there's not much of a way of sustained damage.
Oh, Kenzie! Self-destruct is going to get launched over the bubble. Can he land a slam dunk? He cannot. Just goes for the remake there. It's going to be pretty big, but with Sharek going down, that's a big front line now eradicated for CIS Hope. Kenzie being extremely aggressive on this Widowmaker, moving himself towards the jail where Kib is lying in wait. It's all about pushing this last few moments, but they're just taking a dominating position. Look how safe Kenzie is to move here. He's got all his tanks now pushing forwards in the front line, but maybe a little bit too safe as his tanks end up going down, followed by Meng as well, getting pulse bombed by Craggy.
There was a little bit of miscommunication there. Fusions went incredibly low, and he jumped out of a fight to try and get the large health pack, but after he picked that out, Bucket used the Transcendence to heal up the remainder of the tank's health. It's actually not the most value that you'll get out of that ultimate, but now CIS Hope are up against a wall, just as British Hurricane were. 30 seconds remaining, and they need to finish out this point of Hollywood. And it's incredibly difficult, Jaws, because when you lose someone, they respawn so far back, and the defenders are incredibly close here. So CIS Hope are going to be relying so hard on Kenzie.
They're going to go backstage again, try and find some nice pickoffs, and they do manage to find Kib, but he gets instantly resurrected by Funny Astro. Half HP now as he takes a damage boosted body shot, but look at that, Fusion's jumping in extremely aggressively. He's a very aggressive tank that likes to take the supports and the fight to them. Self-destruct to find the remake for British Hurricane, but Meng's already down. Big heal threat now from Eng, just needs to be able to stay alive in this fight. Kenzie finds the clip onto Happy Cool, and they're still moving forwards. However, though, look how far the cart's actually pushed back, Harry. They need to push it an extra couple of meters, and now Craggy finds his life for like an Unfixed, but the overtime is still ticking through. Funny Astro with the Valkyrie, though, is going to keep everybody alive, and Craggy just lighting the scoreboard red. They should just be able to push it in here. Wouldn't be too surprised, but they just have to be able to keep alive. Sharek's going to go down once again. Overtime ticks through, and Hurricane find themselves with a point on the board.
One very angry aim stood between British Hurricane and tying up this series. And let's just say they earned the title of Exterminator at the end of Hollywood there, Jaws, bringing it home, tying us up 1-1.
Funny, Astro jumping onto the Mercy as well. Definitely not a hero you associate with him. Was able to make sure Kib not only stayed alive through resurrections, as we talked about before. Kenzie's Widow vastly out-widowing a lot of the Widows in this competition, but he's also been able to just moth form. There you go, Battle Mercy, no problem. He even got himself a couple of kills.
Yeah, Kib managed to hold his own there, and that's pretty good for Kib, especially if you're going up against Kenzie. Generally, the idea there is we just probably don't want to play with it, but if we do, we just want to make sure that he's occupied. And of course, Kib managed to find himself, if he was losing the duels, in places where Funny Astro could get those resurrections.
Yeah, not only that, you've got to think of Fusions in the tank line. We've seen him on maps like Numbani and just escorts in general, that he just isolates the backline no problem. He ends up taking out, and if I remember rightly, British Hurricane on the defensive point, and they managed to, lose the caps, not a problem, but Fusion is just isolating himself with the healers, takes them out no problem, especially with a team that does normally leave their healers behind. It's all about the proactive tank play and the proactive DPS play as well from Craggy securing those kills.
Yeah, of course, at the end of that particular Hollywood, we did see Craggy come up with a lot of damage on the Tracer, making sure that he was able to chunk down those tanks, especially Chow. Removing him made sure that Sharek was a lot more vulnerable on that car.
Not only that, we're going to jump to a quick break, guys. We'll be back momentarily after these.